YouTube.com, type in Rip City Radio, where the stream is just popping up. It's there for you now. Took me a second, had to get it all set up. Boom, but there we are, live and in color on the YouTube stream. You can go over there and start chatting with us. And, of course, before we get too deep into what to expect tonight, we got to talk about what happened last time the Blazers hit the court. It was a fun night of celebration for the Asian American Pacific Islander community. I know that I had a fun time getting to interview some representatives from Calo HCC. So you can check that video out on our YouTube page and our Instagram. And, of course, you can go to calohcc.org for more information there as well. But the Heat were in town, the Jimmy Butler-less Heat. And, of course, there is news coming out now that Jimmy Butler has definitely not rescinded his request to get out of town. He had a meeting with Pat Riley and was like, I still want to be traded. I ain't signing my extension. I want to be gone. So we'll see where that goes. Of course, Miami seems like they are reluctant to want to take on big, fat contracts. And they got a lot of teams who are interested have nothing but big, fat contracts. So it's going to be real interesting to see how Miami gets the job done, because it ain't going to be as easy as they thought it was going to be. And it is just funny because if you're a Blazer fan, you lived through all the Blazers have to do this because, blah, blah, blah. No, Blazers get to do it their way. And they traded Dame where they wanted. And guess what? Now Miami has to take a sip of that same medicine. It's glorious, ain't it? It's glorious. But Miami did come into town, and even without Jimmy Butler, they took care of business against the Blazers. They grabbed the 119-98 victory in that one defensively. I think they stuck it to the Blazers. The Blazers just couldn't get much going offensively. Scored just 23 points in the first quarter, 25 in the second. That second quarter, Miami outscored Portland 37-25 alone. And then they clamped down in the fourth quarter, Portland only scoring 15 points. The biggest lead of the night for Miami was 24 points. The biggest lead for the Blazers was 1. So yeah, it was a rough little night, and I said going in, it's like, if you're gonna win one game all season, like just make it the game against the Miami Heat. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble because, as Chad said, his inbox, he was full of it. He was catching strays. He was catching strays, and yeah, they remember. Also, shout out Bricks and Joysticks. So he says Contra 3 for the win. Good call. Thank you. And shout out to you. I've been wondering. I was like, hey, I haven't seen Bricks and Joysticks for a while. I still got to go hit up the store over there in Albany, right? I got to hit that up next time. I'm down south a little bit. But yeah, Contra was awesome. That totally, like, didn't they just did like a remake too, didn't they? Didn't they do that? God, I think they did. I think it was like a lie. I can't even remember. I just know Contra's awesome, and that was my childhood. Anyway, back to the Blazer game. Tamani Kamara, I thought he had a good game. Denny Avdia, a good bounce-back game. Donovan Clingan, we'll talk about him because he got into the game, got the start because DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams didn't play in this one. Of course, Jeremy Grant's still out. But as always, let's start on the opposing side of things. Haywood Highsmith had 14 points and 4 assists for the Heat. Jaime Jaquez Jr. had 11 points and 5 rebounds, 2 assists as well. Bam Adebayo, he chipped in 13 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. So a very solid game from Bam. I thought Bam was a great test for Donovan Clingan, right? Because he's a center that can make you go out. Like, you can't just sit in the paint all day long against a guy like Bam Adebayo. You got to work. You got to extend yourself defensively. So I thought that was a great opportunity for Donovan Clingan to get out there and put himself in the positions that he's not normally comfortable with, right? And so we'll talk about that a little more throughout this show. Tyler Hero, he led all scorers in this one with 32 points. He was 11 of 22 from the floor, 7 of 14 from beyond the arc. Also had 5 rebounds and 5 assists, so a very solid game for Tyler Hero. Terry Rozier, 11 points, 4 assists. And then Nikola Jovic off the bench, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That guy, he's something. I think he's going to turn into a real good player if he continues the trajectory he's on right now. He's got the size. He's got some deceptive speed, man, because he looks like he just wants to lumber, and next thing you know, he'll put the ball down and he'll move on you. And then he's got a bag of tricks, too. Very good player there. If you guys pay attention, you guys know I was really intrigued with him when he was coming into the draft. And, yeah, Miami got a steal there. I wonder if there's a way Portland could get him. It'd be kind of fun. On the Blazers side of things, Tamani Kamara, as I said, he had 6 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Good, solid game from him. Threw in a steal and a block as well. Denny Avdia bounced back at a 15-point, 12-rebound, 5 assists game. Kept the turnovers low, too. Had just 3 of them. Chipped in 2 steals as well, so you love to see that. Donovan Klingen, he played almost 30 minutes in this one. He had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 2 block shots, an assist, and a steal. Shaden Sharp had 22 points on 7 of 20 shooting, and Anthony Simons had 28 points to lead all Trailblazers scores. Off the bench, Scoot Henderson had 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Chris Murray, he had 10 points as well. But Donovan Klingen, I thought, had a great game and a good story, too. He goes in. Obviously, DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams didn't play, so he gets thrown into the starting position, man. And we asked him about it after the game, and it was interesting because, you know, it's like, hey, you got in, you got to play, but, you know, it's you didn't play 3 minutes. Right? You didn't play 5 minutes. You didn't play 8 minutes. And these are the type of things we've seen from him quite often, right? Where he comes into a game and he's just there for a few minutes, and then coach subs him out, and it's all over. And you're like, hey, where'd Donovan Klingen go? Weren't we supposed to get a little bit more Donovan Klingen? So in this one, he got the full complement of starter minutes. And I asked him about it after the game, and it was a funny answer because it's like, you didn't play 3 minutes, you didn't play 8 minutes, and as soon as I said you didn't play 8 minutes, you should have seen the smile on his face. Like, it was noticeable that he's like, yeah, I didn't play just a handful of minutes. I actually got in and got to work, and I enjoyed that. That was fun. Right, and so you hope that he gets a chance to continue to do that tonight and get out there, get big minutes. And even if Ayton's healthy and everyone else is a go, like, just find ways to get Donovan, not playing just, 2 seconds, playing just 8 minutes, whatever it is. Because, again, it was just so good to see him doing, like, the whole plethora and getting out there and getting, like I said, the complement of minutes. That's what you want. You want to see Donovan Klingen playing. You want to see him playing and learning. And again, if he makes mistakes, he makes mistakes. That's just kind of par for the course. It doesn't really matter in the long run. But it was nice to see him out there. And then again, especially against Bam Adebayo. And he did. He got lost a few times. He got lost with trying to get out and find where his defender was. And, oh gosh, now I can't sit in the paint because they got a guy out there who's going to shoot the ball. So he gets out there and he had to go to work. And did he get beat a few times? Yeah, he got beat a few times. But again, it was nothing to be upset about because if he's out there and he's learning, I think you're happy. At least I'm happy. I would think that you guys would be happy too. I thought it was pretty nice. I thought it was pretty nice. And I'm trying to get some audio to work here on the fly, so let's see if we can take a listen to Donovan Klingen here in the post-game press conference.
Having it done and having the pass behind the back, did you expect that one, or do you think he saw you, or just?
I was ready for it. I didn't know what he was going to do, but I was just trying to be as ready as possible for whatever option he made, and it was one heck of a pass.
The last 2 games you've been playing pretty well, and after the last one, Chauncey said you were playing more like yourself. What do you think? What did you have to get past to get back up to this higher standard? Was it just rust from the injury?
Yeah, I just feel like getting back into the shape that I needed to be in, the shape that I was in before I got hurt. Just the speed I was moving at, flying around, blocking shots, rebounding, talking, guarding the paint. Just getting back to myself, and I feel like these last 2 games have been on the track to doing that.
Was that part of why they gave you the night off in New Orleans, just to try to get you back into?
Yeah, obviously been playing a lot, and just coming back off that injury, just be careful and just don't want anything else to happen.
What did you? Go ahead.
Also, I mean, you have been ramping up and getting back in shape, but how nice is it to just get out there and not play 8 minutes or 12 minutes, to be out there for almost 30?
Yeah, it felt great. Just be able to go out, up and down, up and down. That first stretch, the first 6 minutes of the game was, I feel like just back forth. But it was good to be able to get out there and finally feel good to go out and play 27 minutes and not feel tired and feel like you can still go.
And of course, you can't see it. You can go watch it on their YouTube page. But as soon as I asked that question about playing 8 minutes, he smiled. Like, you could tell he was happy he didn't play just 8 minutes. He got a full compliment. All right, going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to head down to the coach's corner, hear what Coach Billups has to say ahead of this game against the Nets. Right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
includes that Laker game. What's happened to flip that switch for those two?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, just them getting familiar with one another, playing off of each other. And it's not just them two. I think both guys, our screening has gotten so much better. Our bigs screening, getting those guys open, it's gotten a ton better. We worked a lot on it, whether it's in pick and rolls or even like in pin down situations. Even though Shea and Ann have been here for a while, if we're really being honest, they haven't played that much together, and shared the backcourt and whatever. They're starting to get more familiar with one another, and it's been a beautiful thing watching those guys kind of get into a rhythm,
On that screening point, 2 is a 4-5 kind of coming up. You've been putting him in more screening actions, and even earlier in the game, I don't think it was something you called, but it just kind of happened. He ended up on the post up early on because they were trying to hide Darrow on him. Yeah. He immediately drew 2. Is that something you kind of want to explore with 2? Because if the 3-point shot is either coming or going, or his on-ball juice isn't there, like is that something you can kind of find with him working in that short roll and working in post ups when they try to hide guys?
Yeah, I think most teams try to hide guys with 2 on them, and 2's becoming so much more aggressive in whether it's our next action plays or not letting those guys hide, putting them into action, screening, hitting, going, catching it in the pocket, and being a secondary playmaker. But also he's certainly good enough to punch it down there to him, catch those guys sleeping sometimes. We haven't explored that as much, but he's definitely good enough for it, and it's something that we'll see. But 2, he got such good instincts, and he knows what teams are trying to do, and I love when they put them on him because he can make other plays for you, and not just a shooting, just playmaking too.
Do you have updates about who's available tonight?
Denny's not playing. No Rob. Delano is playing.
So Denny out. Who's you starting now?
I'm not sure yet, because I'm just not sure what they're doing. They got a lot of guys questionable, so I haven't made a decision on that yet.
With Danny, is this kind of left over from the thing from the Miami game where
No. He tweaked his ankle in practice yesterday, but he's feeling pretty good. We don't think it's going to be a long-term thing at all, but yeah, he got it yesterday in practice.
Any new news on Grant at all?
Yeah, I think he's getting closer. I really do. He's ramping up. He has a really pretty good workout out there today, so I think he's getting closer. I'm not sure, when, but yeah, he's inching back.
Chauncey, what's your own pickup basketball game been looking like lately?
Oh man, I don't know when the last time I played basketball, man.
There's not like a former coach's
we had the wrist surgery
league type deal.
Yeah, we had the wrist thing, but I'm just too out of shape to play basketball, man. I'm too scared to get hurt, man.
Is it just golf now?
Golf, I can still shoot though. I still take off bets with the shooting though.
Would you jump into shooting drills and practice or any?
No.
I want to know who's winning the shootouts because Dwap wouldn't tell me yesterday.
No. You mean not me included, right?
Well, if you jump, maybe you're in them on some.
Well, I mean, I'll let them tell you who's winning it with them, but if I do get in it, I'm going to have a shot. I'll tell you that. Just can't do it too fast, though. All right, yeah.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
And there you hear Coach at the pregame press conference. And if you listen there, it does sound like Denny Avdia will be out tonight. He was dealing, obviously, he took a little bit of a spill in that game against Miami, but then you could hear our Sean Hyken ask him about that. And nope, that's not the reason he's out. He actually tweaked the ankle a little bit at practice, so he'll be out tonight. So we'll see how the lineup looks. Maybe you get a nice healthy dose of Chris Murray. Maybe Jabari Walker gets in a little bit there at the 4 too. So we'll see what happens there. Also, DeAndre Ayton available tonight. So interesting. Hopefully that doesn't mean Clegan starts going back down to playing 8. Right? I liked him playing. I liked him playing almost 30. It was pretty nice. Let me see more of that. That'd be wonderful. But it's you can't always get what you want, right? But if you try, sometimes you just might find you get what you need. Does that apply here? I hope so. I want to see Clingan on the floor. Now, again, if Denny doesn't play, that means that you might get a healthy dose of Chris Murray, just because you could put 2 there at the 4, you put Chris at the 3. Chris can play the 4. He's been doing everything, and I love him as of late, because it's so nice to have a player who will do whatever coach wants and doesn't really waver. If he's playing, he's getting DMPs, and then some nights he's playing 20, and it's just his role right now. And I love that about him. And when he's been asked to do a lot, he shows up and he does it. And he doesn't tend to make a lot of mistakes, which is huge for a guy of his caliber, right? Because I think someone who is as young as he is in the league and is getting those games where sometimes he's not playing, if you all of a sudden throw 20 minutes on him, he can make mistakes. And he doesn't tend to make a bunch of boneheaded mistakes. And one thing about him, too, effort, always there, which you absolutely love to see. And I want to hear what he had to say, because media had a chance to talk to him at practice yesterday.
So you've been getting more PT lately, playing a lot better. What's been changing for you?
Kind of stability, I guess, helps a lot. Kind of knowing the pattern of when I'm going to get in helps, and just playing in a really good rhythm right now. Seeing the floor well defensively, offensively, just trying to make the right plays at all times, and just play with a level of intensity that kind of changes the game when I'm in. So yeah, it's been good rhythm the last couple of weeks.
Is it hard to play well when you're just given 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, as opposed to 15, 12, et cetera? Get more time.
Naturally, I mean, that's kind of the case. You kind of get in a better rhythm when you're out there longer. That's just kind of how it is when you play basketball. And I've done both, where you're get in spot minutes and you're cold when you get in, and you can get a rhythm when you play a lot more. So I mean, it's just natural in basketball. Just kind of have that. It's kind of unique if you're kind of a unique player if that's the case. You're just hot all the time, whether you play 1 minute or 25 minutes.
You talked before about over the last year and a half or so about your confidence kind of being up and down in your shot and kind of other things. Has something changed about that, or is it just getting on the court more consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that, but yeah, just kind of what I've gotten within the last year, just play more free. I have a clear mind this year. I know what coach expects of me and wants me to do on the court, and I feel like I've just had a clear mind, and that's helped me play a lot better.
Was that kind of just because you went through a whole NBA season and then an off season, having already been through an NBA season, knowing kind of what to expect more so than when you were just coming out of the draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an adjustment period. I mean, that rookie year, it's tough for everyone, just because you have that long summer and kind of just thrown in pretty quick, and there's an adjustment period as a rookie. Everyone goes through highs and lows as a rookie, and I feel like my sophomore year I just wanted to have more stability in my mind and in my confidence, and I feel like that's happened a lot, especially throughout the summer and into the season.
What are your impressions of Denny as a player? He's someone who came into the league and struggled for a few years, and then just boom, everything clicked for him. What are your impressions of him as a teammate and a player?
Yeah, he's a really good teammate. I'm happy to be able to share a locker next to him. So we see each other every single day, and I think on the court he plays a low intensity and speed that we really need. He pushes the pace a lot. He's been shooting it really well these last couple of months, and he's the type of player that kind of gets everyone involved, makes the right play, and just kind of brings a level of toughness and intensity to the court when he's in.
And that was Chris Murray there at practice. And yeah, I love the fact that he's talking about Denny there. Unfortunately, Denny will not play tonight, but I do think the level of intensity and just the way he plays the game has been a big reason for some of the successes you've seen from the Trailblazers. And yes, it seems weird to say successes because the wins and losses maybe aren't where you would want them to be. For some people, they're too high. For other people, they're too low. But again, I just love what he brings. I think he has a true ability to change how this team plays and how this team kind of builds their roster moving forward, because he can be a very, very pivotal part to what they want to do in the long run. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, going to hit you with our Coors Cold Hard Facts. And, of course, we still got some keys of the game to get to, and a Blazer game here in about an hour and a half. Man, Shacker throwing me off with some old tunes here. Is it okay to call them old? I'm getting old. Look at all these grays. You can see them on YouTube right now. Type in Rip City Radio. This is Blazers Game Day, presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It is time now for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. And you know what? I was doing a little bit of research today, and unfortunately, it's on my Mac drive, so I can't pop it up. But I do remember it right here in the old head of mine. And it's something talking about draft stock. All right, now I get we're all worried about where the Blazers sit in the current state of things. But we'll see where it all sits and figures itself out in the long run. Keep in mind last year, was Atlanta was the 10th seed coming in. 10th worst odds. They ended up grabbing number 1, right? I think it was Houston who jumped in there too. And then if you look historically, I think I went back all the way to 1985. And it's like the teams who entered draft night 1, 2, and 3 only ended with 1, 2, and 3 or some rendition of getting the top 3 picks twice. Only happened twice. Meaning that someone always jumps in. So that's just the nature of the lottery, right? And of course now you don't have the way the odds are weighed. You know, the top 3 teams have the same advantage going in. And it's just like, you know what? It's just the Blazers, if they sit there at 6, they sit there at 7. I get it. It's not great. It's not number 1. But there's still a chance to jump in. I have been firm on this with you guys. I am anti-team tank. I don't like what it can do to the locker room. I don't like what it can do to the team. I don't like what it can do to the culture. I don't like any of that. I am about putting your best foot forward. Now, if your best foot forward isn't good and you lose, that's fine. Right? So now that's where you look at the whole like tanking thing here. Now, if you're going to sit players like you have over the last few years, like you sat Damian Lillard and everyone else when they were healthy, that's not good. That's spitting in the face of the basketball gods. Now, if you make moves to maybe open up the lane so that Klingon is your starter and Scoot's playing more and your team's just not as good, but your guys are developing for another year, that's smart. That's smart moving forward. So that's not tanking in my eyes. That is making a move so that you're still putting your best lineup out. Your best lineup is just a lot worse than everybody else's. Because here's the thing. If the Blazers team's healthy, you would suspect that they win more games, right? I absolutely would. Don't get out of here with the whole they're an absolutely terrible, terrible team. You're telling me a team like you can't sit here and talk about Ant being terrible and Grant being terrible and Ayton being terrible and then turn around and be like, oh, yeah, they could definitely get us some assets with the right team. So are they good or are they bad? Right? Now you need chemistry and things need to match. But if this team's fully healthy, I'm like, that's a better team than you would think. When Klingon is your, third center? Robert and Ayton are going out there and Scoot and everyone's doing their thing. But if you move everyone out of the way and you start starting Scoot and you start starting Shea, now you don't have your bench rotation is guys like, Chris Murray, who I love, and Justin Minaya and all that. It's a little bit different now at this level. So that's where you start the whole tank. And I like that version of tanking because you're not just playing bad on purpose. Some of these people want to, oh gosh, they're winning. They need to tank. They need to lose this game. They need to stop playing so good. I don't like that. My original point, though, and I'll get the numbers for you officially where everyone sits, but everyone jumps in. Someone always jumps into that top 3. Historically, it is very, very rare for it to end with the top 3 teams actually ending in the top 3. So I do think the Blazers will be fine. And at the end of the day, if you watch what this team's doing and they start developing these guys a little bit better, which I think they've started to do, obviously Tumani's becoming a stud, Shea's getting better, and they're developing these guys, I'm not upset if they fall down to one spot that gives them just slightly worse chance in the lottery, because developing is what matters at the end of the day. Also, the Blazers have questions, right? And I don't have answers. But the question is that guard position, right? Because Anthony Simons is pretty good. He's pretty good. And I got in this debate with some fans the other day about his contract. He's at what, 25 mil right now. He'll be at 27 next year. What's he going to get on his next deal? And you look at a guy who scores like he does, doesn't play a ton of defense, but he's still pretty good. He's probably going to stay close to that range. No, there's no way he's going to get 15 mil. I don't think there's a way in hell Ant gets 10 mil less than what he's getting right now. Not in this landscape. I mean, if he took 25 mil, it would still technically be a pay cut with the way that the cap increases and your percentage of the cap and all those things. Still think he's very valuable. And I still think, you know what, unless Scoot turns the corner, he's still valuable at that one spot. And you got to figure out where you're going in your future and adjust accordingly. Absolutely. you have to. Ant had a pretty good game last time out. He went out there. He was on a heater. He scored 28 points. He was 7 of 14 from beyond the arc. He's basically trying to match Tyler Hero's stat line, which is funny because Tyler Hero is always, kind of clumped in with Portland now just because of everything that went on with the Damian Lillard stuff. But I like Ant, and I think there's value with him here. I also think there's value with him on the trade market. And I think that's what makes him very, very compelling. And honestly, what Joe Cronin's going to do with him is really interesting to me. And the reason I bring Ant up, though, is because I want to hear what he had to say following that game against Miami.
Some of your teammates are struggling to get it going. How much of initiative do you take to kickstart the offense?
We just try to find, which ways, how we can get good looks. It doesn't have to mean necessarily me having a ball or, just me, creating action, starting action, and then swing, and get an easy three. Not necessarily, pressing I have to do something. I just, the time where we were struggling and I found my shot. I think that's how the game just went. It wasn't necessarily I just took the initiative and started shooting a whole bunch of shots. I just, found a couple of shots that went in and I was able to get high from there. So just finding my way within what we're trying to do offensively.
Were you happy overall with the shots that you guys as a team were getting? Some of them worked.
I think it was kind of 50-50. Some of them was tough shots for us, especially in the first half. We were, kind of overthinking, and then, we started off the half really good, going on a run in the third quarter. Obviously, I got hot, but we had some good looks off of some actions we ran. So, I think for the most part, it's kind of 50-50 split. I think, in the second half, we got a lot more better looks in the half.
During some of those runs, the transition game was really working. Did you notice that, and did you start trying to push the pace more?
Yeah, for sure. I think, when we get stops like that, and we got guys like Shaden and Denny who can get the ball and go and push the pace, and I could just space. That helps us out a lot. Obviously, us getting stops propels us to run more. And I think in the first half we was taking the ball out a lot, and so in the second half that kind of helped us go on the run too. Is when we started getting some more stops, and then that helped us offensively.
Chauncey talked about some of the struggles that Shaden has gone through now that defenses are showing more coverages and more emphasis on him. You had to go through that yourself in your career. Have you been offering him advice with how to deal with that and work past it?
Yeah, obviously, that's obviously, obviously you can teach us what you've experienced, and it's always good to have somebody out there that also gets defensive attention as well. So, we can kind of take the pressure off of each other. It's still gonna be the same, but he has to experience that stuff and learn. You know what I mean? And I can teach him some things, but ultimately, like, you have to actually go through it in order to get better at those things. And so I think he's gonna find his way. He's gonna get better at it. Obviously, he's very talented. You can see him getting a lot more confident in himself and going out there and playing this game. And it's exciting to see. So I'm very happy about his progression and how he's been playing for sure.
Were you shocked by the behind the head no look pass to Donovan?
No, not really. Like I said, Shaden is just a naturally talented player. So those type of things is gonna come out in some moments like that, and I'm not surprised. Like I said, super talented. Made the game look easy. So those type of things I think is all natural for him.
And there you hear Ant after the game there. Man, when he's talking about the progression of Shea and how he needs to get out there and learn those things, like, you can't tell me that doesn't sound like Dame talking about Ant when Ant was young, right? I loved that interview. Like, that was a mature, that was a leader, and that was what I think a lot of people want Ant to be. And I want to hear more of that. I want to see more of that. And I love the fact that he's showing a smile, man, and talking about these young guys and how they play. But he's right. It's the same thing we said. I've been saying about Donovan Clingan, though, right? You got to make those mistakes. You got to learn from them. The best way to do that is what? Get out there on the court and do it. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, though, it'll be time for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to pick up a victory over the visiting Brooklyn Nets? This is Blazers Game Day presented by Coors Light, and we continue after the break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It is time now for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to get a win over the Brooklyn Nets? Now, the Brooklyn Nets come into town with a record of 13-26. That is compared to the Blazers' record of 13-25. So they are basically the exact same team record-wise. Portland has lost 2 in a row, while the Nets have lost 5 in a row. And the Blazers need to, if they want to get a win, that's okay. I know Team Tank wants the loss because this is a great game to lose because it helps you in the overall standings. But again, those things I think will buoy themselves out in the long run. But if you're the Blazers, first off, if you don't have Denny Avdia, so I do think it's going to probably be incumbent on guys like Toumani Camara and Scoot probably to get a decent run and really, really push that tempo. I thought this team has been at its best when Denny gets the ball and pushes that tempo out, and they just get going. They get running downhill, and he's looking to make plays. I think 2 can do that, and then again, I really think Scoot can shine if you let him do that role tonight. But without him, you need someone to push that tempo. I don't want this team to slow it down and just middle in the half-court sets. Get out there, get running, try to catch the defense off guard. Secondly, Blazers have had some nights here recently where they do pretty good on the glass, and tonight's going to be a night where they can totally take advantage of the team that they're facing. The Brooklyn Nets average 39.9 rebounds per game. That is the second worst number in the NBA, behind only the Philadelphia 76ers. So Portland can take advantage and get on the glass. Portland is one of the top 5 teams in the NBA on the offensive side of the glass, averaging 12.5. And so you take that with Brooklyn, who is a bottom 2 overall and bottom 3 on the defensive side. Portland could take advantage. This is where guys like DeAndre Ayton and Donovan Clingan are really going to have to bring that A game when it comes to glass cleaning, because they can absolutely take advantage of this, and it's going to allow for some easy second chance points and maybe even third chance points, right? And we've seen a lot of these teams lately when you face Portland. And Miami had a couple where it's like, oh gosh, second chance, they get the rebound. Oh, they missed the layup, but they get the rebound again. It's a third shot, and boom, then they make it. Portland can do that tonight against Brooklyn. Again, take advantage of a team that is not great on the glass. You absolutely have to in this situation. And then third, I think this is a team that can totally take advantage of the ball handling on their side. Like Scoot's a good ball handler, right? Shea's a good, Ant's a good ball handler. And then just be smart with it, because Brooklyn does not force a lot of steals, right? They are second worst in the league at steals per game at 7.3, and it's all been a bugaboo for the Blazers, has been that turnover number, right? So when you are playing a team that does not force a lot of turnovers, don't give away the ball. Don't give them easy turnovers. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Control the ball, clean the glass, especially offensively, and then see who is filling in for Denny when it comes to pushing the tempo, because that's going to be 3 keys, really, to getting this game going. Now, with the injuries and Denny Avdia not playing, go Blazers! With Denny Avdia not playing, again, how are we going to disperse our minutes out? And I do think Donovan Clingan, I would love to see him get him out there at least 20. Man, find a way to do it. You don't need to say, coming off being out for a quick little injury, you don't need to force DA out there for 38 minutes, right? Let him play 30 and give 20 to DA. Maybe have a spot where they're both playing. This is a good opportunity tonight as well, with no Denny Avdia, with no Jeremy Grant. Do you see a couple of those minutes where you got Clingan at the 5 and Ayton at the 4, and splice them up a little bit and get Clingan out there a little bit more than usual when he's coming off the bench, right? Those are going to be big things to watch and things that I want to see. I definitely want to see Clingan get out there as much as possible. You guys know that about me. I want to see him out there all the time. All the time. So how does Chauncey deal with, again, not having his full complement of bigs tonight? Not having Denny and not having Jeremy is going to be rough. And Denny is so fun and so good to have on your roster, because here's the thing. I debated forever how much I love him coming off the bench, how he fills that Manu Ginobili role, right? It comes off and comes in and he's scoring the ball and he's pushing tempo and he's getting all the assists and really leading that second unit. But then Jeremy goes down and he slot him into the starting lineup, and then he does the exact same thing with them. And you're like, okay, I like him as a starter. I like him as the sixth man. I like him as this. I like him as that. Like, he is so good and so fun and so valuable to this team. Gosh, he's fun to watch play, ain't he? He's absolutely fun to watch play. Now, if you were listening to the Rib City Drive, Chad was talking about Contra. He said his time's about to get destroyed because I sent him a link that they did, in fact, remake Contra, a new game for the PlayStation and the Xbox and all that, and that's GOAT stuff right there. I'm glad they did. Now, it is funny, though, because Chad was talking about Contra and all that stuff. I still can't believe he didn't play The Legend of Zelda, though. Like, that's to me, that's like the GOAT. The Super Nintendo theme, like this bad boy. I mean, come on. Come on. This was bumping out your little Super Nintendo when you were a kid. I mean, this is in my humble opinion, greatest video game song ever. A thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. Shout out to Chad, though, for picking a video game for Name That Tune for Blazer tickets. That's GOAT material right there. I appreciate that. And but Legend of Zelda. Shout out Legend of Zelda. But yeah, they got a new Contra game. That should be fun. Maybe I'm going to have to get down on that. If you haven't played Contra, go do it. Bricks and Joysticks said in the chat as soon as the show started. That's a good call. It is a good call. You know what else is a good call? Blazers getting a win tonight. Again, I'm not Team Tank, y'all. I'm not Team Tank. I'm team go out there and play your best ball. If your best ball leads to a loss, good. Get a better draft position at the end of it because you need it. But if your best ball leads to a win, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I think you have invested over the last 3 seasons of tanking, right? To get Scoot, to get Shea, to get Klingon. You traded away the face of your franchise. You got Tumani Kamara in it. You made some other trades. You got Denny Avdia. Again, he's not playing tonight. But development is key. Get out there and let these guys develop. And like I told Chad earlier, what makes this game extra interesting to me is the fact that the Brooklyn Nets, like I said, they're kind of the Portland of the East. You're not playing the Mavericks. You're not playing the Suns. You're not playing the Celtics. You're playing another team full of young guys that are out there looking to become better too. Zaire Williams, Noah Clowney, Nick Claxton, Blazer legend Keon Johnson, Ben Simmons, and whatever broken jump shot he's bringing tonight, right? So you got a lot of young guys out here, again, looking to get going. Derek Whitehead, Cam Johnson, just 5 years in, right? So it's like this is a Blazer team right here that you're playing against, the Blazers of the East. So how do you fare against them? Because, again, we know the challenges that are faced when Klingon goes against Anthony Davis, or he goes against Nikola Jokic, or he goes against Joel Embiid. How does Donovan Klingon look when he's going up against Nick Claxton, who's a 5-year guy, who's good, who's really, really good, but he's the guy that, like, if Klingon's going to play 15 years in this league, a lot of them are going to be against him, right? So I'm very, very eager to see how Portland looks against another young team who's very much in the same boat as Portland is, looking to get better and improve over the next few years. The music is on, though. 7 Nation Army means it is time to go, but stay locked in because coming up next, Chad Doing has your Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. Travis Demers will have the radio call right here on Rip City Radio 620 with tip-off at 7 o'clock. And when it's all said and done, stay right here because we'll have the 5th quarter where hopefully we're breaking down a Trailblazers victory. Rip City will talk to you after this one.